My name is Mirelle. I am 28 years old, and 2 years ago I made the biggest decision of my life. At the time, I was pregnant with my second child. My husband, Kalen, and I were struggling financially. Prices kept rising, bills never seemed to end, and every month felt harder than the last. One evening, after our son had gone to sleep, Kalen suggested something that frightened me. "What if we moved to my country?" he asked. His hometown was thousands of miles away. His family lived there, and he believed we could build a better future. The idea scared me, but I trusted him. A few months later, we packed our belongings, said goodbye to friends and family, and started a new life abroad. Everything felt different when we arrived. The streets were quieter. The weather was colder. Even the air felt unfamiliar. I tried to stay positive. The next day, we visited Kalen's family. His relatives welcomed us warmly. There was food, laughter, and endless conversation. At first, everything seemed fine. What nobody knew was that I understood their language. Years earlier, I had studied it in college. I never became confident enough to speak it fluently, but I could understand far more than people expected. For some reason, I never mentioned it. That secret soon became painful. During our first family dinner, I heard quiet comments. "She looks different than I imagined. Her clothes are unusual. She's very quiet." The remarks were subtle, but they hurt. I told myself not to take them seriously. Unfortunately, they continued. As the weeks passed, every visit brought new comments. Sometimes they criticized my appearance. Sometimes my choices. Sometimes the way I raised my son. They always spoke quietly, assuming I could not understand. I smiled politely and pretended not to hear. But every word stayed with me. Being pregnant already made me emotional and exhausted. The constant criticism slowly damaged my confidence. One evening, I stood in front of the mirror and barely recognized myself. I looked tired, sad, lost. For the first time, I wondered if moving here had been a mistake. I kept everything hidden from Kalen because I did not want conflict. I knew how much he loved his family. I did not want him to feel caught between us. But silence became heavier every day. Eventually, I could not carry it anymore. One night while preparing dinner, I accidentally cut my finger. The injury was small. The tears were not. I suddenly broke down crying. Kalen rushed into the kitchen. "What happened?" he asked. I tried to calm myself. Then I finally told him the truth. "They talk about me." He looked confused. "Who?" "Your family." When I explained that I understood their language, he was shocked. "You never told me." I shook my head. Then I told him everything. The comments. The jokes. The criticism. When I finished, his face was serious. "You should have told me sooner," he said quietly. "I didn't want problems. You shouldn't have faced this alone." A few days later, he spoke with his family. After that conversation, everything changed. The whispers disappeared. Everyone suddenly became polite. Very polite. Too polite. It felt forced. as if they were simply being careful. Months later, my daughter was born. Holding her in my arms was the happiest moment of my life. We named her Alira after my grandmother. The name meant a great deal to me. Unfortunately, Kaylin's family did not like it. Several relatives immediately criticized our choice. They suggested different names and questioned our decision. I listened calmly. Then I smiled. "My daughter already has a name," I said. The conversation ended, but the tension remained. For several weeks, I avoided family gatherings. I focused on my children and my recovery. Life became peaceful again. Then came an invitation to my mother-in-law's birthday celebration. I did not want to attend. Something inside me warned that nothing had truly changed. Still, I agreed. The house was crowded when we arrived. Everyone wanted to see the baby. People reached for her immediately. I politely refused. She was still very young, and I was not comfortable letting everyone hold her. Some relatives understood. Others clearly did not. Later, we sat together around a large dining table. People laughed, talked, and shared stories. I stayed mostly quiet. Then I heard familiar voices. My mother-in-law. My sister-in-law. They believed I could not understand them. Again. She acts like she's better than everyone. She's so dramatic. Look at her. She doesn't even try anymore. They laughed softly. Then the comments became worse. They criticized my appearance, my weight after pregnancy, even my parenting. Every word felt like another stone added to a burden I had carried for months. This time, I had enough. I slowly stood from my chair. The room became silent. Everyone looked at me. Then I spoke in their language. Perfectly. Clearly. Confidently. Shock spread across the room. "I understood you from the very beginning," I said. Nobody spoke. I heard every joke. Every face froze. I heard every insult. My voice trembled slightly, but I continued. I stayed quiet because I wanted peace. I looked directly at my mother-in-law. But peace should never require accepting disrespect. The room remained silent. I looked around the table. I left my country, my friends, and my entire life behind for my family. My eyes filled with tears. But I deserve the same respect I give to others. No one laughed anymore. No one whispered. For the first time, they had to hear the truth. Then Kaylin stood beside me. He placed a hand on my shoulder. "I'm proud of her," he said firmly. Those 4 words meant everything. For months I had felt alone. In that moment I did not. Several relatives looked embarrassed. Others avoided eye contact. Without another argument, Kaylin and I gathered our things and left. The drive home was quiet. But this silence felt different. It felt peaceful. For the first time since moving abroad, I felt free. In the weeks that followed, life slowly improved. I stopped worrying about winning approval. I stopped shrinking myself to make other people comfortable. Most importantly, I stopped apologizing for who I was. One evening, I stood in front of the mirror again. I looked at my reflection. I was not perfect. I was tired. I was still adjusting to life as a mother of two. But I was stronger than before. This time when I smiled, I believed it. That experience taught me something important. Silence is not always strength. Sometimes silence only protects the people who hurt you. Speaking up can be frightening. Your voice may shake. Your hands may tremble. But the moment you finally stand up for yourself can also be the moment you begin to heal. And that is exactly what happened to me.